Are you overtraining? So that's a question that a lot of people ask me. They ask me whether they're overtraining. And I think the short and simple answer is no. You are not overtraining. The reason being, most people are pretty damn lazy, and most people don't recognize their capacity for output. And this ties into, I think most people do not know how to rest properly. So it doesn't mean you're overtraining if you're sore or continually feel tired. I think a bigger issue is you do not know how to rest and recover properly. And there's a very big distinguishing factor between the two. Overtraining, in my eyes, is very dependent, or it's very subjective to what your goals are. So if your goals are in the line of, so you could have so everyone's got different goals for why they're training or why they're moving or why they're doing what they're doing. And these could be in the range of fat loss, putting on muscle mass, learning skill, training, for example, training in some sort of artistic form, a martial art, and some other things like training for yourself, for your own well-being, training for external reasons such as training for other people. You want to train because you want to prove something to other people. And that's why actually a lot of people actually get into it. I've found out through my experience that a lot of people initially get into training because they want to prove something to other people. They want to prove that they're not weak. They want to prove that they are strong to other people, not to themselves. But I find that once they get over the initial hump of actually getting into the training and seeing results and getting motivated, that this sequence of why they're actually training actually changes. So it might go something like, you're training to prove something to other people, and then you realize the intrinsic gain of actually training and all the reasons why you're training have changed. You train for yourself, you train for your well-being, you train because you want to express yourself in a certain way, you train because you want to lose weight, put on muscle, be healthy, and promote your personal image or brand, which I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. So it is an interesting topic because most people don't recognize the level of output that they're capable of, and you have to also tailor how you're training and how much you're training to your specific goal. So I think in the past I've definitely overtrained for the goal that I was trying to achieve. For example, if I was trying to put on the most amount of muscle mass and maintain a level of body fat, I don't think the way I was previously training in my younger days, so 9-10 years ago, was the most efficient way for me to achieve those goals, because I was burning myself out with the old bodybuilding mentality, which I adopted because that was the era that I entered my training phase, was in the real hardcore bodybuilding era, where the work ethic was you would train weights for 2-3 hours, 6 days a week. And you would go heavy you go high number of sets, you would push, 1 rep or 2 rep maxes continually, and the programming structure will be designed to completely destroy and fuck you. And yeah, I learned some amazing work ethic and I had some amazing gains, but I probably was to the point overtraining where if I trained smarter, I probably would have ended up getting a lot more consistency throughout the years, and actually it would have converted into having, instead of having more short-term volume, for example, a lot more reps and sets in one day, over a period of a month or a year, if I trained smarter and actually did less reps, less sets, but had more consistency over the year, so more sessions or more actual sets and reps over the year, because I had more break, needed less recovery time, I would have actually increased my output by 2 or 3 fold. And over a period of consistency, I would have actually done more. So that's a concept that I very much train with now. I train with more of the idea in my mind of prolonged consistency over short-term volume, because prolonged consistency is going to give me a greater amount of volume over a prolonged period of time, rather than short-term intensity and volume is going to force me to recover over a longer period of time before I can undertake that same kind of work. So I don't want to be pushing to my 100% max in my training, but I want to be hitting the level of training that I need to put an adequate level of stress for whatever I'm trying to gain from that training, whether it be a greater level of strength, stability, mobility, flexibility, acquiring of a skill, or rewiring some sort of cognitive process in my brain to learn something. I don't want to be pushing to 100%. I want to be pushing to a level where I can slowly and incrementally progress to a point with a greater level of consistency over a period of time, rather than short-term levels of intensity that require longer periods of rest and recovery, because I'm going to get more out of it in a longer time frame. So if you want to know more about that concept of training, someone who explains it really well is Firas Zahabi, who was actually on the Joe Rogan podcast. So you can type him on YouTube and type Joe Rogan podcast, and it will come up, and he explains it really well about how to train in a smart sense. But once again, it's personalized and it's dependent on your goal and what you want to achieve from your training. Yeah, so in short, you're probably not overtraining, you're probably not recovering, or you don't know how to rest properly. And this is a video that I'll be making very soon about how to rest properly, or what my idea of resting properly is, and what my idea of recovering properly is, because there's so many elements to this. It's not just one. And your training part of your routine is so highly connected to everything else that you do, and the performance that you're going to get out of your training routine is so highly connected to everything else that you do in your day, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, that it's really important to understand. So I'll be making a video on the importance of recovery and rest, because it's something that's changed the way I train and the way I feel and my levels of performance, and it's something that I would love to share with you guys. So keep an eye out for the next video that I post. Have a good one.